Yo, peace and blessings. Coming back with another topic Thursday. I know it's been a minute since I did one. Been about 2 weeks now, a week and a half, something like that. But this one I want to talk about how everything's not what it seems. Everything is not what it seems. During the era of technology, social media, and so many other things, futuristic things, we see people, we see things, we see circumstances, events, different things, and we have a habit of comparing ourselves to somebody else's situation or experience or lifestyle, or even hearing urban legend stories about people, and we hold them in such a high caliber, a high ranking, and we think that what they did was so unattainable. How could we ever reach that level or even get that status, or anything that they're doing? And a lot of times it's not what it seems. Sometimes we see people with things, and we might see them with it and showing it off, but you have no idea how they even got that. That might not even be theirs. They might have did something not moral or anything with value or principles to it to get it. You might see people accomplish certain things. You might be thinking, damn, where's my accomplishments? But you don't know what they did or how they even got that connection to get to those accomplishments. Sometimes people get certain things, and it's not always through hard work. And sometimes we got to realize that too. Not in every case, but more than likely a lot of times people didn't get stuff the way we think they did. But even when it comes to like urban legend myths, like I'll give you an example. Everybody knows about Michael Jordan. And we all know about the flu game. So for years when I was younger, I always heard about the flu game and how he played with the flu. He didn't feel well. He woke up, not feeling good. Looked like he was about to pass out, had no energy, had no strength, and he willed himself to somehow still play and find his strength throughout the game, even though it looked like he's about to die, to keep pushing himself to help his team win. And even when I was younger, it still didn't sound right to me, like that somebody could play with the flu. 'Cause I was like, the flu? Like, that's impossible. How? But because he's Michael Jordan, the urban legend gets bigger. The bigger your name, the bigger the urban legend. So they'll start saying stuff when it comes to certain things, people with that type of status. And that's one of the things I'm talking about. Everything is not what it seems. So they made it seem like when you hear that, you like, wow, I could never do that. How could he do that? And you like, how I can never get to that type of status. But I always knew that didn't sound right. And then you find out years later that it really wasn't a flu. It was a stomach virus, actually, from some bad pizza. And I'm like, see, that sounds more like reality, more realistic. Yeah, stomach virus, you could do that. I can see that. But the flu, I was like, come on, the flu? Nobody's playing with the flu. They're not even getting 1 minute on the court. Like, come on. So, that's one example. Another example when it comes to that is, I'm going to give another basketball example. Isaiah Thomas. When I was younger, they were saying, he was playing on a broken foot, giving the Lakers buckets. Nobody ever did that before. And it sounds so crazy because of who he is and the status and the player he is and the accomplishments he has and the talent. So when you hear that, you're like, wow, I could never do that. Like, he's not human. Same thing with the Michael Jordan story. It's like, he's not human. He's untouchable. He's unattainable, his level. And really, he didn't have a broken ankle. He had a bad sprained ankle. And I was like, see, that's more realistic. That's more reality. Once again, I can see that. Even if the sprain was bad, I could see him hobbling on a sprain and still somehow getting buckets. But on a broken ankle, are you serious? Even Kobe couldn't play on a ruptured Achilles, torn Achilles. He shot his free throws and had to walk off. You think he gonna be running up the court with a torn Achilles? Come on. So a broken ankle. I'm like, how? So those are just some of the things where I'm like, everything is not what it seems. Even when it comes, like when they started doing the documentary series on BET, what they did Master P and No Limit, and then they did Rough Riders as well. But for years, we always heard, Master P was, an entrepreneur. He did it independently with his music. He sold out his trunk, made a bunch of money, thousands of dollars, and kept building and started No Limit. And, once again, the urban legend sounds so crazy. It was like, damn, that's so hard to do. How could I do that? I don't think I could ever do that. That's like once in a lifetime. And I'm not taking nothing away from any of these guys or Master P in this example either. But years later, when they show the series, it shows more to the story. He got lucky and met Tupac on tour, and he put him on the people. He knew people from E40, the rapper, that would put him on the stuff. Something happened to his grandfather where a tragic thing happened with a malpractice suit, and unfortunately the hospital did something wrong, and the grandfather ended up suffering from that careless activity from those doctors, and he ended up passing away. So they got a malpractice suit and won money. That money was able to help him now get a space where he could do the studio and start up his own record company and stuff. So I'm like, see, now it's the pieces coming together. It doesn't just sound like the one part where they say, yo, he just wanted to be a rapper, he started selling music out of his trunk, he just started killing, making money, and then he blew up. No, it was people that he knew, because everybody gets help. No matter what anybody says. Everybody knows somebody. You're going to, even no matter if you're starting up by yourself or whatever, you're going to get help from people. He got that. That was a blessing. He met different people, kept meeting more people, kept doing other things. He was also in the streets getting money as well. And then it just kept on building and into other stuff. And, then he, eventually started selling all that stuff out of his trunk and everything as he was, in the streets, and then trying to go legit, do music. So that sounded more relatable, where it gives people an idea that they can do this. That is not so unattainable. Like, that's just once in a lifetime that somebody do something like that. Because you get the full story, not just the one part that makes the urban legend sound so bigger than life. Even when it comes to anybody like Jay-Z, when they say, he started up his own, nobody wanted to sign him, he started up his own company, Rockefeller, his own label, and which he did. But you got to tell the full story. He was also in the streets, selling drugs, along with Dame Dash. And they got a lot of money from that, which they was able to incorporate and do that. And be able to start a label like it was nothing. So then you get, okay, that's more reliable, that's more reality. It doesn't just sound like a big, crazy urban legend, like, wow, that just sounds so unattainable. And there's nothing taken away from these people, I'm saying, but when people just tell that one part, it sounds so unrealistic. But really, when you hear the full story, it's more relatable. It gives you more hope and motivation and inspiration. Like, okay, that makes more sense, and we can do that. I just gotta, do this, that, and the third, And he was able to incorporate that into the record label to be able to start like that. And then Dame Dash came out and said that when Hot 97 used to do, I think it was the hot songs of the week or something like that back in the days, where callers would call in and request a certain songs, and they would keep playing that song. And if the song wins, they'll keep playing the song or whatever, as long as people keep calling in to vote for that. Dame Dash came out and said, actually we was paying people to call up to the radio all week to play that song. That's how we kept winning and get noticed. So I'm like, once again, everything is not what it seems. Like, these people just started this up, they just did that one thing, and then they just started blowing, and people just started listening. No, it's not that. And I learned that in this world, the urban legend sounds more intriguing to sell to an audience. So that's why people do that with their stories, and just tell part of their urban legend stories, and it sounds better to the public. It makes them look larger than life. But when you hear the full story, how everything really, really, really came into fruition and came together, it makes more sense, and they're way more relatable, and it gives you way more hope because you're like, okay, you can do this. It's not just a once in a lifetime thing. And don't get me wrong, certain things does only happen to certain people once in a lifetime. But when it comes to these people I named, it's way more realistic when you hear the full story and more relatable. And you can get more hope into doing whatever you're doing, or if you're doing something similar to what they're doing. And even with the urban legend stories of the basketball players that I mentioned, it sounds more relatable when you hear the real story. That no, it wasn't a flu game, no, it wasn't a broken ankle. It was actually a stomach virus, so it was actually a bad sprain. So everything is not what it seems. And it doesn't matter whether it's the urban legend stories or when you see somebody has something and you're wondering like, damn, I'm behind, or how where's my achievements, where's my accomplishments. You gotta just stick to your guns. You gotta be able to see through the smoke. You gotta be able to have your third eye and your lens on point and be able to laser vision through all that, because everything is not what it seems, no matter what it is. So you gotta, like I said, keep your eyes on what you're doing, focus on what you're doing, keep pushing forward, and don't worry and think that, damn, it seems like it's not attainable for me to do, or it seems like I could never accomplish anything, or it can never happen to me, because it can happen to anybody. Because a lot of times you don't know how people got there or what they did, or even a lot of times a lot of people doing people dirty too. I gotta be honest about that. Getting to where they going, they doing people dirty, and people not mentioning that either. With a lot of people that's in industries, no matter what industry it is, they celebrating them, but they're not being honest. Like, yo, yeah, they got this accomplishment, or they're a billionaire, or this or that, and they're not being honest. Yo, they got to the billions because they did somebody dirty. It doesn't matter, black, white, whoever it is, or they got this because they doing this with the country because they ain't been paying taxes for the past years. Whatever it is, everything is not what it seems. So we gotta always remember that to keep ourselves grounded. So I ain't gonna make this too long, even though I probably already did. I just want to leave you out with that message to just stay focused, even in the times where you feel like you're losing your grip and the hold on things, or you feel like you're not there, or it's so unattainable because you're looking at people that came before us, or people that's getting things. You never know how they got there, or what they did, or who they did dirty, or did something unjust to get there. So, keep your eyes on your prize, because we all got plenty of gifts out there that's wrapped, and they're waiting for us to get to them so we can unwrap those gifts, because there's something special in that box. So, peace and blessings. Stay masked up, stay motivated, inspired, and keep the vision going for whatever it is that you want to do, because we all got a destination, and one day we got to get there. Whether we run there, we sprint there, we crawl, we got to get there. So peace, much love, respect. I'm out.